Hello everyone, welcome to the QuesterMage, Mage's Quest to talk about games. In today's video I want to talk about will we see an Arcade1UP Capcom XL CounterCade. We have a few videos talking about arcade related content on the channel. If you'd like to watch any of these, please take a look. In the last few years we've seen the rise in popularity of arcade gaming in the home space. We've seen the launch of various 3/4 scale machines, be they arcade cabinets, pinball machines, sit down cabinets, cocktail tables. We've also had countercades and bar tops, now being complemented with full size machines. I am surprised that we have not seen more options for the officially licensed arcade bar tops. With Arcade1UP seemingly wanting to be the owners of nostalgia in the home space and recently having announced their new upgraded versions of their 3/4 scale products, the Pro line or XL cabinets, I thought, why stop there? Why not create a bar top, as these products seem to be popular? Arcade1UP can use a similar process of iterating existing machines and upgrading them to create a new line of products. When thinking of this idea, their CounterCade line, to me, would be a good starting point. Marketing wise, the name already suggests it sits on a counter like a bar top, but with an increase in size and a few upgrades on the existing CounterCade features, we could see an Arcade1UP Barcade or XL CounterCade. So, what could this XL CounterCade possibly bring to the table that would be different? Well, here's my idea. So far, the biggest contenders to me would be the Unico MVSX and the II Arcade, which you can see on screen now. Both of these machines, as you can see here, are bar tops but have the option to buy a riser or a stand. The II Arcade, in my opinion, now being considered more of an arcade and less of a bar top. The MVSX here, I think, being the opposite. So the MVSX would be the nearest competitor due to it being the closest business model. A standalone cabinet with pre-installed licensed games, no online shop, that is essentially a bar top arcade. Let's take a look at some of the MVSX's good and bad points mentioned by users. Starting off with the good points, we have 50 licensed games included. In these 50 licensed games, we have good quality games also. The game list includes very well known and loved titles. The emulation was said to be good, the size of the unit was well received, and the size of the screen also fit the unit nicely. A light up marquee, and the games included had both the arcade and console versions, so the AES and MVS modes. Moving on to the bad points, the buttons and sticks were not the best quality. The game list was quite fighter heavy. When you have 50 games and most of these are fighting games, you're bound to upset some consumers. Maybe adding more first party side scrolling sports or puzzle games. Alternatively, seek third party licenses for games like Puzzle Bubble. When you have a small game list, I don't think this is as much of a problem, as you can say that machine was specifically made to be a Metal Slug or King of Fighters cabinet. The UI tended to be slow when going from game to game, especially when you want to go from the first game on the list to the last. The speakers sounded slightly tinny, and also they were placed at the bottom of the cabinet, which was slightly weird. You'd think that they would have been placed underneath the marquee. So with this starting point, Arcade1UP could look at this feedback and could create a version that would satisfy this, also aiming for a competitive price point. Arcade1UP have a few arcade-inspired product lines. The Partycades, the Countercades, 3/4 scale Legacies, the Cocktail Cabinets, 3/4 scale themselves, the Projectorcade, and the new Pro line. I think that the pricing for this type of product would have to fit in between the Countercade and 3/4 scale Legacy. I also think they already have a model that they could modify to fit an XL CounterCade. What do I mean? They have launched their Legacy Edition line of 3/4 scale cabinets. What if they halved the height and changed some of the artwork slightly? I started to wonder what that could look like. So here's a picture that I put together myself. What do you think? I'd love to see this type of machine being made, and Capcom to me would be an ideal fit for the first version of the XL CounterCade. Not everyone has the space for a 3/4 scale arcade in their home, but these potential customers might consider buying a bar top, which they could just store away or just leave on top of a desk or other home furniture. So what about the features and games? I could see this being a mix of Arcade1UP's Capcom Legacy Edition and Big Blue. I'd guess that an XL CounterCade would be a flat pack retail unit and not pre-assembled, essentially only having to build the top half of a 3/4 scale Arcade1UP. A 17-inch screen, a 2-player control deck, a control deck protector, a light-up marquee, stereo sound, a headphone slot. The online would likely be removed. I've also added backtops to this picture here. I think that would also help it to be different from the other units. And 10 included games. So the game list could be a little smaller, as this assumingly would be a cheaper product. As I said before, I think this would be a mix from Arcade1UP's Capcom Legacy Edition and Big Blue. So starting with Street Fighter II World Warrior, Street Fighter II Champion Edition, Street Fighter II Hyper Fighting, Super Street Fighter II Turbo, Super Puzzle Fighter II Turbo, Captain Commando, Final Fight, Ghosts and Goblins, Knights of the Round, and Capcom Sports Club. So in summary, an XL CounterCade for me would be priced lower than a 3/4 scale but higher than a normal CounterCade. Similar features but without online play, and 10 games which would be a mix of previous Capcom cabinets which Arcade1UP has made so far. So what do you all think of the idea of an XL CounterCade? Would you buy one? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? How would you change it? Please leave your impression down in the comment section. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for clicking on this video and for visiting the channel. If you like what we do here, please click like, subscribe, and click that notification bell for more of our content in the future. And until then, thanks again.